Sometimes I think the only thing more exciting than reading a good book is looking ahead to the ones that you're going to read. So let's do that. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another TBR, this time for August, my birthday month. That's of 2025. It's going to be a very, very exciting month because I have 5 books on here that I am thrilled that I have narrowed this down to want to pick. It's going to be 2 months in a row where I'm able to hit all my goals. I think so, because I feel like these are going to flow pretty good. And what helps it flow is I have 5 different genres on here. And I think that's always something that's very exciting and keeps things fresh, keeps you from getting a little reading burnout. It's switching up genres once in a while. And I think this mix here is going to be great. So I got some fantasy, I got sci-fi, I got horror, I got crime mystery, and I've got sword and sorcery. So all these things and more. It's going to be a very, very exciting month in August, I do think. Let's go ahead and kick it off with the first one, which is where I will be continuing with Royce and Hadrian in the Rhaegar Chronicles. This is Winter's Daughter, Disappearance of Winter's Daughter. Michael J. Sullivan, book number 4 in Rhaegar Chronicles, and it's very, very bittersweet. I'm getting close to caught up with real time on the Royce and Hadrian stories. But what I've constantly said in the past is Royce and Hadrian could be going to find the greatest chicken sandwich in the kingdom, and I'd be like, that's an adventure that I want to go on, because Michael J. Sullivan, love him or hate him, what he never ever misses on is Royce and Hadrian books, and I'm excited to see what their next adventure does lead them to. So what venture does the disappearance of Winter's daughter lead them to? Well, when Gabriel, Winter's daughter, mysteriously disappears and is presumed dead, the wealthy whiskey baron seeks revenge. Having lived in Kelnora during the infamous Year of Fear, he hires the one man he knows can deliver a bloody retribution: the notorious Duster. The cynical ex-assassin and the idealistic ex-mercenary Royce and Hadrian travel to a mysterious old city filled with nobles claiming descent from imperial aristocracy. Rhaegar's job appears easy. Discover what happened to the missing duchess, and if she lives, bring her home. If not, we'll punish those responsible. But nothing is simple in the crowded, narrow, mist-filled streets of Rochelle, where more than one ancient evil does lurk. So not much really to talk about here. I think he's kind of getting into the episodic adventures of Royce and Hadrian now, whereas in Rhaegar Revelations, it felt like, it was one long arcing story. This is starting to feel a little broke, but I think it'll be like Death of Dulgoth, where we'll see something where it fills in some gaps for Rhaegar Revelations, because I've already said it's really cool having some of those side characters from Rhaegar Revelations having bigger roles in this. These last 2 here, if you count this one, seem like they are starting to get a little further off the beaten path of the areas and territories that were used to Royce and Hadrian kind of parading around in Revelation. So again, I like that he keeps growing the world of Elan. I think that's really, really awesome that he does this. And this seems like it's going to be just another awesome adventure with my 2 favorite rogues. And if you know who the Duster is, you do know. Now that brings me to spoilers. I want to say, when I do this, I proofread these and try to get to a point where either out of context it's not going to make any sense to you, or if it has a spoiler, I'm reading just the back flap. And if I feel like it's something that's spoilery, I proofread it first. So I think you're safe. So when I'm talking about books in a series, it gets tough. And some people are like, you're spoiling things. I don't think I am. But again, I've got timestamps below if you want to skip to the next one, because I'm going to be talking about book 6 in a series next. This is my sci-fi pick. And this, guys, is my long-awaited return to the world of Sun Eater. This is Disquiet Gods by Christopher Ruocchio. You may have heard of him. It felt like I introduced this guy to a lot of people, and now they're all ahead of me. And I did that on purpose. I felt like I wanted to read the last 2 books sort of together. I didn't want to do them back to back because that's a lot of words. It's really glossy, shiny. I'm glad they're doing a re-release of this since he's back with Dahl now. So hopefully I can get a matte dust cover for this. Hopefully. Anyway, excited to return, because if you guys know the way that Ashes of Man does end, it's like, oh, wow, what could you possibly do next? And now we will find out. So again, I don't think that this synopsis here is spoilery, again, out of context. Even if you've only read one book, you're on book 3 right now, I don't feel like this is going to ruin anything for you. But if you're worried about it, again, like I said, skip ahead to the next one. I do understand. So Disquiet Gods, what is Marlowe up to at this point? Well, the end is nigh. It has been nearly 200 years since Hadrian Marlowe walked away from war, from his empire, from his duty, from the will and service of the eldritch being, known only as the Quiet. The galaxy lies in the grip of a terrible plague, and worse, the Cielsen have overrun the realms of men. A messenger has come bearing a summons from the sullen emperor for the one-time hero. A summons, a pardon, and a plea. Hapsis, the Emperor's secret first contact intelligence organization, has located one of the dreadful Watchers, the immense powerful beings worshipped by the pale ℓ𝕖. Called out of retirement and exile, the old hero must race across the galaxy and against time to accomplish one last impossible task: to kill a god. And I don't think that's going to be hyperbole, because guys, we know how Sun Eater does go here. It just gets more and more epic, and I can't wait to see what Christopher has done here. I've had so many people tell me this might be their favorite in the series. I've heard some people say they aren't sure how I'm going to feel about it. I don't know. I think I would rank the series much different than other people. And I think that's normal. What's really good about this, I feel like these books have a little something for everyone. They're going to hit everyone a little different way, and we all have different things that we love about it. So with me, it seems like this is getting a much more of a focus on Hadrian as a character study, which is what I liked about the earlier books, and I think that could be really, really great. And obviously, he's not going to be ignoring some of those larger plot elements and otherworldly things that we do love to see in a good sci-fi series. And I'm excited. I can't wait to get to it. With Shadows Upon Time right around the corner, it's going to be really, really awesome to not have to wait for the finale. Next up, guys, I'm finishing up Dark Tower as I record this, and that's a reread, obviously, but one I have never read before is The Colorado Kid by Cy King here. I really this came out during my breakup period. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go watch my How I Became a Constant Reader video, and that will tell you why I wasn't reading some stuff during this time period. But also, hard case crime novels, I've always been like, look, I'm not saying that Stephen has to stay in his lane or anything. I've just kind of gotten exhausted. Now, this is before he discovered Holly, so I think I'm still a little safe here. This is much more listed as a mystery novel than the hard case crime. It's just under the hard case crime label here. But I've heard some people say this is one of the best little short stories that he's written, or I've seen some people say it's kind of crappy or forgettable. So I don't know where I'll fall. This is only 190 pages, so this will be something, a nice little morsel after reading Dark Tower 7, which is just a beast, and it's taken me like the whole month. But this is one that I've been anxious to get to because I hear so many mixed things on it. And again, Stephen King books that I haven't read at this point, that's exciting to get to, especially during the time period where I still feel like he was writing really, really great stuff. So The Colorado Kid, what is this one about? Well, Vince Teague and Dave Bowie are the sole operators of the Weekly Islander, a small Maine newspaper, and Stephanie McCann has been working for them as an intern. When Stephanie asks if they've ever come across a real unexplained mystery in the 50 years they've been publishing the paper, they tell the story of the Colorado Kid. On an island off the coast of Maine, a man is found dead with no identification on the body. Only the dogged work of a pair of local newspapermen and a graduate student in forensics turns up any clues. But it's just the beginning of the mystery, because the more they learn about the man and the baffling circumstances on his death, the less they understand. Was it an impossible crime or something stranger still? So, a good mystery, I'm always here for it. I like a good whodunit. A cold case crime can be something I find somewhat interesting. I've been well on the record that like crime fiction isn't exactly my thing, but when it's done really, really well, I like it. So with King, as long as he's doing these characters well, and King does have the ability to write really good characters in less than 200 pages, then I'll probably like it. I wonder if that was a typo at first, that there's a character named Dave Bowie. So I'm pretty sure, Stephen does like to, whatever he's listened to at the time, he does kind of find a way to write into what he's writing. But maybe he was listening to some Bowie and said, hey, why don't I just name one of my characters after him? Why not? I think that there's room for all these things. I do love me some David Bowie. Next up, now the horror offering for this month is, I think you guys know by now, I've had a little bit of a recurring theme lately when it comes to horror, and that is what I'm calling the monthly Malfi. I've been reading a Ronald Malfi book every month here since Blackmouth, I think. And it's been exciting. I've really liked everything that I've read, and pretty much one that a lot of people have been telling me for the last few reads that I need to make a priority is The Night Parade. Now, The Night Parade, it gets a lot of similarities to The Stand. Now, everybody compares his books to Stephen King. I've done it as well. I've called him Stephen King adjacent. He gets to the point a little faster than Stephen. But for me, it's something that is a compliment. It's something that's very, very good. I look at things that are kind of similar to Stan, like Swan Song, and I think it's wonderful. It can be done just right. I don't necessarily know that this is like that, but I can see reading the synopsis here why some people would say that. One thing about this that's kind of got me is a lot of people are saying this is a lot about father-daughter stuff. Now, I have boys, but I think you can relate dad shit to anyone with a kid, and this apparently has a lot of that stuff in it. So again, it's making me think right away about some of the things that I loved about Swan Song, And I think that if this is even close to that, obviously, go ahead and write it down. This will be my book of the month next month, I think. But what is the night parade about? Well, they call it the Wanderer's Folly, a disease of delusions, of daydreams and nightmares, a plague threatening to wipe out the human race. After 2 years of creeping decay, David Arlen woke up one morning thinking that the worst was over. But by midnight, he's bleeding and terrified. His wife is dead, and he's on the run in a stolen car with his 8-year-old daughter, who may be the key to a cure. Ellie is a special girl, deep, insightful, and she knows David is lying to her, lying about her mother, lying about what they're running from, and lying about what he sees when he takes his eyes off the road. Yes, I can see why people are comparing this to The Stand. Obviously. Again, you're going to get those comparisons when you are clearly a very big Stephen King fan. I believe Ronald Malfi is. I don't know. I'm talking to Ronald Malfi on the channel in October, and I'll ask him a lot of these things. What are some of your influences? What are some of your favorite Stephen King stories? I'm willing to bet The Stand does come up. So again, I love that he wears his influences on his sleeve, and I can't wait to get into this because, like Bone White, this is one of the ones that was recommended to me the earliest. So we're going to dive in here in August, and I think I'm going to go ahead on a limb and predict that the string of hits by Ronald Malfi with yours truly will continue. Can't wait to do it. We'll also be dipping into quarter number 3 of the ℚ𝕦𝕤𝕤𝕤 in September. So I'll probably read this one at the end of August to make sure that no one is waiting for me. This was Philip's pick, and I'm very excited about this because it's an author that I adore. It's one of my 10 favorite authors of all time. I did list Mr. Robert E. Howard in that, and this is going to be, I think, Brian's first experience with Conan the Cimmerian. So I am always on board for some Conan. Didn't have to twist my arm very hard. And this is going to be great. We're going to be doing Conan the Conqueror, or more commonly known as the Hour of the Dragon. This is most of his stories are like 15 to 35, 40 pages long. This one was a little bit longer, and so I think it'll be a really, really great starting point for something. Because the thing that's great about Conan is you don't have to read any. You can look up some chronological order somewhat, but they're all just kind of short stories. They kind of have a beginning, middle, and an end, and they are all taking different places. Sometimes Conan will be a slave, then he'll just be a warrior, then he'll be a king, and things like that. It doesn't explain all these things about how he gets there. You can try to put together a chronological reading order, but people are asking me, can I start with the Hour of the Dragon? Yeah, you can. You can start with any Conan story, and you can understand what's going on, because Robert E. Howard, he's just one of the GOATs. He's just that good, and I think that it will work for everybody, no matter what you're into. But for me, sword and sorcery hits just a little different than fantasy. It's just something that has a more distinct feel to it, and I'm excited to not only revisit this, because I just read this story for the first time about 3 or 4 years ago, but to get to revisit and discuss it with the gentleman at the ℚ𝕦𝕤𝕤𝕤, I almost said it right, is very exciting for me. Because again, I love this author, and I love this character, and it's going to be very, very fun to talk about. So Hour of the Dragon, Conan the Conqueror. What is this one about? Well, Conan the Barbarian from the wilds of Cimmeria was now king of Aquilonia. The lawless, hard-bitten adventurer had grown into an able statesman, and Aquilonia was flourishing under his firm but tolerant rule. But a plot brewing in the neighboring kingdom of Nemedia aimed to overthrow Conan using dark sorcery by means of the sinister sorcery of a bygone age, the return of ℒ𝕠𝕠𝕠. Conan embarks on a perilous journey to find the heart of Ahriman, a powerful artifact needed to defeat the Dark Wizard. To reclaim his throne, Conan must confront his past and rediscover his barbarian strength and cunning. What I love about stories like this is you got that age-old warrior. He's never been higher in his life. And it's like, what else is left to achieve? And they can kind of get bored. They can get kind of a little disillusioned with what's going on in their life. They kind of hunger for those days of glory and victory and battle. This gives Conan the opportunity. He looks at this as an opportunity. You know what? Let's go back to the roots. Let's go back and find out how I got here. Let's see if I've still got it. And I think this is a really, really good story with those themes, amongst other things. So again, I think people have an idea about Conan. They've never read him before. But when you actually read these stories, you see Conan is not just a meathead who's like, I punch hard. He does these things, but he does much more than that. He's very, very smart. And I think this story is one of those that really, really shows how he got to where he became the king of Aquilonia. So guys, that is the month of August. I'm very, very excited about it. Not excited about turning 47, but who is? I know, look at it now and say, I'm really turning the age that Michael J. Fox was in Back to the Future 2. Wow, when I was a kid, I thought that was like ancient. Now I'm like, it's not so bad, is it? Yeah, it is what it is. But August should be a fun month, as all things considered, because I love that I've continued to mix up these genres and keep things really fresh. I love this mix that I have right here, and I'm anticipating a really strong reading month. So what about you guys? Are you going to join me for any of these? If you want to join the ℚ𝕦𝕤𝕤𝕤 read, we've got a thread on the Discord for people who participate in those reads, and we'd love to have you along, because it makes the discussion much better. And if you've never read Conan, man, this is the perfect opportunity to read it with some folks that I think will have some interesting things to say about it. It's going to be very fun. So let me know, guys, what you are planning to read in August. Drop in the comments and let me know, and I will talk to you there.